Hello everyone, Benji-Sales here, and thank you for joining me for another NPD predictions video. This month, of course, we are going to be talking about the month of April. Now, April typically is a pretty slow month as we exit out of, that tax return season and we make our way towards summer. Usually this is the time of year you start to see hardware sales really slow down. So not a ton to talk about this month. I'm going to try and get through this video really quick, but there is some pretty exciting stuff to talk about in regards to software. So let's dive in. So first, let's talk about hardware. Like I mentioned, April is a month that you definitely start to see hardware sales slow down. So don't expect anything crazy this month in terms of performances. Let's go through these, one at a time. First, for Nintendo Switch, I am expecting it to be up year over year, just like we've seen in January, February, and March. I'm expecting the same here, probably somewhere in that 20 to 30% up year over year. That's where I'm expecting it to be, right in that range, 20 to 30%. I'll be shocked if it's higher than that, and I'll also be surprised if it's lower than that. So that's going to be my prediction there for Nintendo Switch hardware. For PlayStation 4, expect a huge decline year over year. We're talking 50% is not out of the question. I don't know if it's going to go that high. I'm going to say, 40 to 50% drop year over year, and there's a major reason for that. First of all, the PS4 has been down every single month this year, so of course it's natural to expect it to also be down this month. But this comp, year over year, right, your comparison to last year included the God of War launch, and last year PS4 was setting records for its performance during April, right? It had a absolutely enormous April with God of War. Now, Days Gone came out this year, and Days Gone seems to be doing very, very strongly, but it's not having anywhere near the hardware moving impact that God of War did. So again, PS4 down year over year, and I'm expecting it to be 40 to 50% decline there. Xbox One, just not a lot exciting there either way. We did see some price cuts this month, some price promotions for the console, so that should help alleviate the drop somewhat, but I am still expecting it to be down year over year, probably somewhere in that 20% range year over year decline is what I'm expecting. Right around there is probably where it's going to be. It didn't have any massive releases this month to help propel the system besides Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat 11, there's already been Mortal Kombat's released this gen, and we're so late in the cycle, that's not really moving Xbox systems. So yeah, the major impact in terms of what would affect its sales would be those price promotions, but I'm still expecting a decline. So right in that 20-ish% range down is what I'm expecting. And yeah, in terms of ranking, of course, I'm going to go Switch number 1, PlayStation 4 number 2, Xbox One number 3, and that's going to pretty much wrap up hardware. Alright, so next let's talk software, and this is really what has the potential to be a lot more exciting this month instead of hardware. Now, we had two really massive major new releases in Mortal Kombat 11 and Days Gone, so that's going to be what most of this segment of the video is going to talk about. First, before we dive into anything on these, I did run a poll on Twitter, and I asked your opinions on, what you thought would be number one between those two, because it seems really obvious to me that one of those two games is going to be number one and one's going to be number two, right? They were clearly the biggest releases this month, and both seem to have done very strongly. So I got 649 votes on that poll, and I'm surprised at how close the results are. So 52% of you think that Mortal Kombat 11 will be the best-selling game of the month, and 48% of you said that it was Days Gone. And I've also included a bunch, of the comments here as well, because I want your voices and your opinions to also be heard, not just mine in these videos. So yeah, clearly, very divided, between everyone who voted here on which would be number one. So let me give you my opinion. What do I think is going to be number one between these two? And I'm going to go with Mortal Kombat 11, okay? It is available on, Xbox One, PS4, and Switch, right? Whereas Days Gone is only available on the PS4, and Mortal Kombat 11 also has more days of tracking. So it just has a lot more in its favor to be the number one selling game for the month. NetherRealm has already come out and said that, it is the biggest launch ever in the franchise history, and Mortal Kombat X, already was a massive seller, right? It was in the top 10 NPD for the year whenever it was released. So not just, did it have an amazing month, but it also was one of the best-selling games of the entire year. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 I think is pretty firmly going to be your number one selling game for the month. What to add to that, PS4 is definitely going to be the lead SKU by a very wide margin, right? That is going to be where the vast majority of sales are for this game. But I was surprised and impressed by the performance of the game on the Nintendo Switch. Don't expect this to be some like, whoa, Switch sold 40% of the units of this game. It's nothing like that, but it did have a very strong performance. So that tells me, that these Western M-rated third-party titles can absolutely find success on the platform as long as they're there, day and date. I think that's really important, right? We've seen some late ports do well, also Diablo, for example, sold very strongly on the Switch. Skyrim did very well. So, we've seen games already do pretty good, but, Mortal Kombat 11 did very awesome on Switch. So I think if you can get that out, right, if you're a third party and you can get that out right with PS4, right with Xbox One, and not delayed, I think you'll be rewarded there with some very strong sales, because let's be honest, Mortal Kombat is about as M-rated of a game as you could ever get, and it performed very strongly on the Switch. So yeah, that's going to sum up my thoughts on Mortal Kombat. In regards to Days Gone, I think that's going to be number 2 for the month. And I've been talking about this a bunch on Twitter. I'm very impressed with its performance. I know a lot of people have been doubting this game for a long time now. Ever since its original E3 reveal, a lot of people have been saying, oh, I just don't see the selling point. I'm not interested in this game. The trailers I don't find good. You've just seen a lot of negativity around the game online. And I always got the impression, from talking with consumers, which I do a lot, as well as looking at, things like pre-order data, as well as interest levels on things like YouTube videos. I don't want to go super in depth on some of this stuff that I see, but it always was showing strong metrics pre-release. So it's a zombie game, it's a open world game, it's a PlayStation exclusive, right? PlayStation fans have really gotten behind their exclusives this gen. You can just keep naming them: God of War, Spider-Man, Detroit, games like Bloodborne. I mean, so many PlayStation exclusives, the Uncharted series, Horizon Zero Dawn, right? There's so many examples of games that have just sold excellent that are PlayStation exclusives. So the PlayStation fan base really gets behind those games, and I'm expecting Days Gone to have a very, very, very strong opening. I don't think it's going to quite hit what Horizon Zero Dawn hit, right? I think it's going to be a little bit below Horizon Zero Dawn's performance. That game did, I don't want to go into units, never mind. I almost said how many units it did in its opening NPD month. We're not going to go there. But needless to say, it had a huge opening for a new IP. I don't think Days Gone is going to quite hit that. I think it's going to be a little bit less than what Horizon achieved, but still a massively good performance, for a brand new IP. This is going to be a new franchise for Sony, right? We saw it hit number 1 in the UK, and it's actually the best-selling game of the year so far in the UK. I mean, the biggest launch, I should say, not total volume, but biggest launch in the UK. So, that's not going to be reflected in the US. I don't think Mortal Kombat will be bigger than Days Gone, but it's going to be an excellent performance. So very happy for Bend and very happy for Sony. In regards to other, software predictions, I think that The Division 2 is going to still remain in your top 5 for the month. That game has been showing very strong legs. It also showed very good legs in places like the UK that we've seen data for. So I still am expecting Division 2 to sit right there in that top 5, which, is great to see, as word of mouth on that game is very positive. And yeah, MLB The Show will probably still be in your top 5, probably pretty good chance of that. And other than that, not a ton exciting really on software, besides really those 2, major new releases. Those were really exciting to follow and watch. But yeah, that is going to sum up my software predictions for the month. All right, everyone, as always, thank you for joining me again for another video. I love doing these, and I'm loving the feedback and support I'm getting on them as well. As always, follow me on Twitter at Benji-Sales if you do not already. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And let me know in the comments, what you think here. Are my predictions crazy? Are they way off? Is Days Gone going to beat Mortal Kombat? Is Switch not going to be the best-selling hardware? Let me know what you think. And if you like the video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. As always, I will grade my predictions here once the actual NPD results release, and we'll find out how I did. I did really awesome in March, so hopefully April is going to be a good result for me as well. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.